Have you ever noticed that, despite maintaining good habits like healthy eating and regular exercise, your legs seem weaker than before? Do stairs feel harder to climb? Or does it take longer to stand up from a chair? Is this just part of getting older? Or is there another reason at play, quietly affecting your body? What might surprise you is that it's not always about what you're not doing. Sometimes, the very things you believe are healthy can be working against you. Many older adults make a common, but unnoticed mistake every day. They eat certain fruits with confidence, believing that because they're natural and have always been recommended as healthy, they must be beneficial. For the most part, this is true. But there's a side of the story that rarely gets mentioned. Not every fruit is suitable for seniors. In fact, some fruits that are regularly consumed may slowly contribute to weaker legs, increased knee pain, more joint inflammation, and greater difficulty walking. These fruits, often advertised as health foods, might actually undermine your mobility, balance, and leg strength. With age, bodies change, circulation declines, metabolism slows down, and foods that used to be helpful can start causing problems, especially certain fruits. Even though they look harmless and taste good, they might contain acids, sugars, and other components that raise blood sugar, trigger inflammation in the joints, and sap your leg strength. Even more troubling is how the damage creeps in quietly, without warning. For a long time, there's nothing to notice, until suddenly there's a stabbing pain in your calves, a constant ache in your thighs, or a strange stiffness in your knees from just a short stroll. Today, I'm going to share with you the 7 fruits that can be dangerously harmful for anyone over 60, particularly if you're trying to spare your legs from lasting harm, pain, or weakness. No matter how innocent these fruits might seem, there's hidden risk in every one of them. After you hear what I have to say, your usual fruit bowl might start to look a little different, maybe even unsettling. So please, stay with me through to the end. If you care about keeping your legs steady, pain-free, and strong, maybe this is just the warning you've needed. Just a quick pause. If you'd like to know more truths folks never talk about, you can subscribe and turn on notifications. I'll leave that up to you. I'd also like to know who's listening. If you feel like this hits home, type "own" in the comments. If it doesn't, just write 0. What you think is more important than you might guess. Now, let's get started with the first fruit. It's often described as soothing and good for the joints, yet it can quietly cause trouble for seniors. That fruit is pineapple. Pineapple, bright, sweet, tropical, has a glowing reputation for fighting inflammation thanks to something called bromelain. And yet, the reality isn't what you've been told. For older adults, that very same pineapple might be quietly setting off problems instead of protecting you. Its strong acids and concentrated sugars, though tucked beneath that juicy taste, might be the silent reason behind your discomfort. Those sugars aren't nearly as innocent as they seem, especially once you reach your 60s. As the years go by, blood vessels lose some of their resilience. They react differently to sugar surges than they used to. Pineapple, even with all its benefits, sends a sharp rush of natural sugars into your bloodstream. What does that mean for you? There's a quick spike in blood sugar, which starts to wear down the tiny blood vessels feeding your legs, feet, and muscles. Over time, circulation gets weaker, so your legs receive less and less oxygen. The result? Pain, fatigue, swelling, all of which become companions after just a brief walk. That nagging, heavy soreness shows up in your legs, and when you stand, your knees stiffen. Even sitting still, out of nowhere, your ankles ache. And it doesn't really end there. Pineapple's acidity can aggravate joints, especially if you already deal with inflammation or arthritis. It's almost like pouring more fuel on a fire that's already making your ankles, hips, and knees burn. Some people notice, with quiet resignation, that their legs just feel heavier after eating pineapple, almost as if their strength is fading away, little by little. Here's a slightly reworded version of your text. Here's something else to keep in mind if you're on medication, especially blood thinners. The well-known enzyme bromelain can interact with some drugs, sometimes making them too potent or not effective. But the real danger is more subtle. Pineapple doesn't cause obvious discomfort or immediate symptoms. Effects creep in gradually until one day you might find your mobility is limited compared to before. What's truly unfortunate is that many seniors don't realize that the fruit they eat for its health benefits could be contributing to the gradual loss of leg strength they notice each year. So, what can you do? You don't have to stop eating pineapple altogether, but it's wise to have it in moderation, particularly if you've noticed ongoing leg pain or unexplained swelling. The harm is subtle but real. Now, if pineapple, despite its anti-inflammatory reputation, can impact aging legs like this. Consider the next fruit: bananas. Soft, tasty, and packed with potassium, bananas often get recommended for muscle support and energy. But things aren't so clear-cut for seniors. Bananas are rich in natural sugars and fast-digesting carbs, which means your blood sugar spikes after eating them, and your body starts to push back against insulin. Frequent spikes like this weaken circulation, raise inflammation, and take a toll on your legs. This can show up as soreness while walking or climbing stairs, heaviness in your legs after meals, or stiff calves. Bananas aren't just a source of muscle support. They can have a darker side, especially if your heart isn't strong. They slowly trigger fluid to pool within you, joints stiffening, ankles swelling, feet puffing up. It's a quiet process. You trust bananas to keep your body strong, yet each bite might be quietly leaching your energy. What's sinister is that you won't see it coming. It unfolds over weeks, months, making every step heavier, robbing you of ease one aching joint at a time. Next time your legs feel heavy or sore, take a closer look at what you're eating. The fruit you believe is harmless may already have you in its grip. But if the mighty banana can do such harm, what about something more delicate? Grapes are tiny, tempting, seemingly pure. People boast about their health perks, antioxidants, protection for the heart. Yet behind their sweetness lurks something much more disturbing for older adults: a creeping pain, a stiffness in the limbs that grows every time you indulge. It boils down to the fructose within, an innocent sugar that turns malignant in excess. The liver, overwhelmed, sends uric acid flooding into your system, where it settles into the tiniest, most vulnerable joints. It smolders there, setting off flashes of burning pain in toes, ankles, knees, a constant, gnawing ache that makes every step uncertain. That stabbing pain in your toe? A warning that the rot has begun. Once your liver falters and can no longer handle the onslaught, damage settles in, especially in the toes, ankles, and knees. Uric acid seeps insidiously into the joints, igniting sharp, smoldering pain and swelling. Even the softest step can feel like walking on shards of glass. Have you been jolted awake by savage pain in your big toe during the night? Felt inexplicable stiffness creeping up your calves? Sometimes the trigger is deceptively innocent. Just a handful of grapes can silently spike your uric acid. And then there's persistent, hidden inflammation gnawing away, slowing movement, ratcheting up tension, turning supple limbs rigid and clumsy. Grapes, in their innocent, bite-sized form, invite overindulgence, each handful feeding a quiet threat. By the time you realize it, you're deep in the sticky web of excess sugar. As wholesome as they appear, grapes may be chipping away at your agility, draining comfort from your legs, their sweetness masking a slow betrayal. If you've noticed a creeping ache or swelling and counted grapes among your regular pleasures, the connection could be more than coincidence. But grapes are only part of the trap. The fruits you trust most could have darker sides. One in particular is cherry, all juice and summer, a liquid mirage concealing its true nature. Watermelon, praised for its purity, actually harbors a high glycemic sting. It may taste like innocence, but inside, it's another agent of the slow undoing. Watermelon, despite its cool, refreshing taste, sends your blood sugar soaring in a way that's worryingly similar to eating candy. For older adults, these repeated sugar spikes can be quietly destructive, especially when it comes to their legs. Here's what happens: the rapid rise in blood sugar triggers a rush of insulin. But as the years go by, bodies don't manage insulin as smoothly as they used to. This struggle leads to inflammation, mainly in parts of the body where blood doesn't flow as strongly: your calves, ankles, knees. Suddenly, simple activities like eating can leave your legs feeling tired. Dull pain makes even a short walk a challenge, and swelling becomes a constant companion around your ankles. Climbing stairs might begin to feel less like an errand, and more like a small defeat each day. Watermelon may seem airy and harmless, yet inside, it works quietly, wearing away at your legs. Because it tastes so light and inviting, it's easy to overindulge. One slice turns into several, piling on more sugar, more strain, and more inflammation. It's misleading. You believe you're hydrating, but with every juicy bite, blood sugar creeps higher, circulation falters, and leg pain quietly takes root. It's unsettling to think what's meant to feel refreshing might, instead, make each step a little harder. Maybe for seniors who find their legs itchier lately, it's time to question whether watermelon is helping or quietly making things worse. Now, let's shift to another fruit, one linked with wellness and vitamin C, found in breakfast drinks, supplements, and on practically every breakfast table. Yet, beneath the glowing reputation, Oranges can bring their own troubles. Their acidity sometimes lands harshly on aging joints, causing discomfort where you least want it. Oranges are supposed to represent health and energy, yet for some, they only add to the ache. For many, oranges represent health and brightness, but for people over 60, there's a less cheerful side to this popular fruit. The same citrus tang that seems so refreshing hides a sharpness, acid, that doesn't get along with aging joints. As much as oranges appear harmless, their acids can quietly add to joint discomfort, making things harder if you're already fighting inflammation, stiffness, or arthritis. Over time, you may notice your mornings start with stubborn stiffness in your knees, or an ache lingers in your hips. Legs may feel sore after sitting, movement becomes less fluid, swelling increases. Chalk it up to growing older, you might think. But sometimes, the very tradition of drinking orange juice each morning may be adding to the aches that creep upon you day after day. Here's the trouble: the citric acid in oranges does more than tingle your tongue. It gets into your system and irritates the tissues cushioning your joints. Paired with the fruit's natural sugars, your blood sugar fluctuates, and your body's response is inflammation, quietly spreading through knees, ankles, calves. While a younger person may not notice anything, these effects settle in quietly in older bodies, gradually amplifying the aches of age. What once felt like a healthy start to the day might, in the end, be deepening the discomfort you hope to escape. The cruelest part is the quiet trust. You eat them, convinced they're a gift to your health. Oranges have always represented well-being, light, and comfort. But now, a shadow lingers: the truth that these fruits may quietly betray you. Looking for safer ground, you reach for something new, green, polished, and chillingly crisp. It looks innocent, promising fewer sugars and fewer risks. Most people call green apples a sure thing, but what they don't see is the menace beneath the skin. A threat that waits for you in the night: cramps, stiffened knees, hips that throb with uneasy aches. Green apples, for all their emerald shine, hide secrets. Many, especially the older and the careful, cling to the myth that their subtle taste means purity and safety. Yet the truth slithers quietly: green apples may be quietly draining your strength, leaving you heavy-limbed, restless, and sore. The culprit is twofold: malic acid and secreted natural sugars. Malic acid, sharp as a blade, gives green apples their sour bite. In youth, your body shrugs it off. As years pass, the acid becomes ruthless, cutting into sensitive tissue and inflaming joints. Some wake to burning hips. Others, a dull pressure crawling down their legs or a strange, creeping heat in their tired feet. The suffering doesn't pounce. It creeps, day by day, as the acid seeps into bone and sinew. Then there's the sugar, masked behind tartness, ready to spike and ebb in the blood of anyone whose body grows slower with age. The reward for biting into that green flesh might just be a restless night, spent chasing fleeting comfort while pain whirls just beneath the surface. You might notice a creeping ache in your calves, nighttime leg cramps that claw at your sleep, or a morning stiffness that leaves your muscles feeling heavy and betrays you on the stairs. The situation gets more unsettling with green apples. Their innocent appearance makes them an easy choice for a quick snack, even late at night. Yet, lurking in that crisp sweetness is the power to quietly sap your strength, turn your joints to stone, and leave you tossing through restless evenings. Gentle on the surface, these apples may silently be sabotaging every step you take. But if a harmless apple can provoke so much trouble, what should you make of the mango? The mango, lush, syrupy, a fruit that almost feels forbidden in its excess. It's a summer favorite, deceptively easy to devour. Here's what hides beneath that velvet flesh: a tidal wave of sugar, hitting your bloodstream like a sudden storm. In youth, the body can handle these surges. But as the decades pass, your defenses erode. Each sweet bite triggers a rush and crash, setting off a chain reaction of inflammation deep in your joints, gnawing away at your ankles, hips, and knees. For those already plagued by nerve pain, the torment can intensify. A burning under the skin, a reminder that the simple pleasure of fruit can exact a hidden price. Whenever this happens, your body generates inflammation deep inside your joints, especially in the soft tissues around your knees, hips, and ankles. If you have nerve problems, you may notice a burning feeling in your toes, ongoing tingling, swelling of your feet in the evening, or dragging heaviness in your legs. Mango, with its fresh taste and light texture, often doesn't feel like a heavy snack, so it's easy to eat more than you should, which only worsens the situation. That's the catch. The sensation of lightness has no bearing on how your body reacts. The sugar it contains prompts a physical response, and over time, that can lead to joint discomfort, slower movements, and instability while walking. Many older adults think of mangoes as a safe, natural treat. But just because something is natural doesn't mean it's harmless, especially if you have poor circulation or aging joints. Now, you've got the full story. Even though people praise these 7 fruits for their health perks, they come with drawbacks for those over 60. The upside? Certain fruits do the opposite. They help keep your legs strong, ease joint pain, and combat inflammation. Let's look at those restorative choices and what seniors could choose instead. With a clear idea of which fruits to minimize, you can focus on fruits that truly help. Eating the right ones does more than just satisfy your appetite. They support your health. To start, berries like blueberries, blackberries, and raspberries offer potent anti-inflammatory benefits. They're low in sugar, rich in antioxidants, and easy on blood sugar levels. Most importantly, they promote better blood flow in your legs, improve flexibility, and help bring down swelling. First, cherries. Approach with restraint. Their deep red flesh carries a secret. They quietly subdue uric acid, holding off the relentless flares of gout and joint agony waiting to pounce at the slightest chance. The pain, burning in your knees, searing in your toes, is lulled to rest by a mere handful. Take more, and perhaps the remedy turns sour. Then avocado, green on the outside, but inside, a darkness of rich, oily flesh hides. It masquerades as one of the best fruits for joints, the fats inside smothering the slow burn of inflammation, cushioning bones pressed by time. They linger in your system, smoothing out the jagged spikes of blood sugar, whispering promises of a steady pulse and an even keel in a world where balance slips away easily. Now papaya, tender, sweet, deceptive in its softness. Within lie enzymes, almost unseen, that eat away at inflammation and coax tired joints back from the brink. Its lightness is a gentle touch, easy to swallow, harmless on the surface, but inside, it works with quiet precision to eliminate what should not be there. Don't forget pears. Bite into one. Firm, cool, a trace of sweetness fading into something thicker and heavier if you let it. Pair it with a fragment of fiber or a ghost of protein. Not too sweet, never overwhelming. They invigorate without burden, only revealing their subtle power after you've taken your fill. All of these fruits, none loud, none showy, do not provoke. They do not awaken the swelling or the ache that waits for the careless. They help your body slip closer to a strange equilibrium, one that teeters between vitality and frailty. The decision is always yours, which fruits to let in, which to leave in shadow, choosing what supports you as you navigate the dim corridors of age. You'll recognize the results when you walk. Steps that feel anchored, joints that give less complaint, and mornings that seem less menacing. And now, a final thought for you. Cloaked in that dark quiet, your persistence to this point is not unnoticed. And something in the night recognizes your determination to endure. Listen closely. This might be your last warning. Time hasn't run out for you. Not yet. Recovery's still possible, but shadows gather fast, and you're walking this path more or less alone, whether you realize it or not. Growing older is no gentle descent. The aches, the silent stiffness, the lurking terror of falling, they creep in by inches, hollowing you out, making something as familiar as your own flesh feel like it's fading away. But the grim truth is you aren't powerless, not unless you surrender. The changes you need may be small, but they're the only protection left between you and the creeping void. Each meal, each bite of fruit, each half-conscious decision. These are the thin lines that hold the dark at bay. The fruits we talked about earlier, they're not poison outright, but the things that once kept you strong might betray you now. That's no comfort, but it's reality. Aging isn't surrender. It's a slow test of wit, adaptability, and survival. When you start choosing food with cold calculation, focusing on what keeps your blood moving, your joints from locking up, your steps from echoing back hollow, you might just fend off the pain a little longer. Mornings won't sting so much, and maybe you'll walk without hearing the whisper of weakness at your heels. This isn't about fear. It's about clinging to every edge you've got left. So, tell me, what did you take from this? What shadow will you fight today? Share your answer below. If this message unsettled you or made you think twice, let it show. Press like, and above all, don't go quietly. Sign up now so you don't miss out on valuable health tips. Hit the notification bell before you go. If you found this video helpful, comment 1. If you didn't, comment 0. Your feedback really matters. Keep pushing forward. And remember, your legs are key to your freedom and mobility. Did you know that some fruits, which are often considered healthy, can actually be harmful, even more so than soda for people over 65? Recent 23 findings in the Journal of Clinical Nutrition showed that seniors who ate specific fruits marketed as superfoods faced a 57% higher risk of developing metabolic syndrome, which has been closely linked to stroke, diabetes, and heart failure. The real shock is that these fruits are everywhere, promoted as nutritional must-haves, but they're quietly causing damage with each serving, especially for older adults whose bodies process sugar less efficiently and recover more slowly. However, there's good news. Lesser-known fruits may actually benefit aging bodies, lowering blood pressure, boosting heart health, and even rejuvenating the brain. In this special video, we reveal the 4 fruits every senior should eat daily, as well as 4 they need to avoid completely. Please answer my question, and I'll wrap up every response with: you might be surprised to learn which fruit sits at the very top of our list of hidden dangers. This everyday favorite, a beloved snack for so many, could quietly be depleting your energy and stealing precious years from your life. Before we move on, you can comment below and let us know where you're tuning in from. If you haven't yet, please consider liking this video and subscribing to see future health updates. Now, let's pull back the curtain on what's really happening behind the scenes. Number 4, avocados. That's right, technically a fruit, and one that deserves a closer look for reasons that could permanently change how you view your own health. Years of misguided nutrition advice have cast all fats in a bad light. But the real story is more complicated. For seniors, avocados stand out among foods for their rare blend of monounsaturated fats, especially oleic acid. Studies show these fats are remarkably effective at lowering harmful LDL cholesterol, even as they encourage healthier HDL levels. The potential to protect against heart attacks and strokes should be a source of hope, but also of regret, knowing how many go without these benefits simply because the truth hasn't reached them in time. There's something your doctor might never mention: avocados actually surpass bananas and many other fruits in potassium content. For seniors, that means avocados could be making a difference when it matters most. But too often, these facts come too late. What most doctors keep under wraps, and few realize until it's too late, is this hidden in plain sight. Avocados pack nearly 1,000 mg of potassium per fruit, a secret weapon vastly more potent than the humble banana. For the vast majority of seniors already caught in hypertension's silent grip, the consequences are quietly devastating. Avocados' potassium doesn't just battle sodium, it forces blood vessel walls to relax, dragging dangerously high blood pressure numbers back from the brink. And this doesn't come from a pill bottle, but from something you can buy at any grocery store. But lowering blood pressure is only the beginning. Lurking within each avocado is a hefty dose of lutein, an antioxidant so powerful it can dramatically slow the relentless march of macular degeneration. The number 1 thief of vision in people over 65. Ignore it, and you may discover one day that the world fades at the edges, sight slipping away, while avocados sat untouched in your kitchen. Perhaps most overlooked of all, avocados have a peculiar ability to unseal the door to nutritional absorption locked tight in your digestive system. Vitamins D and K, the building blocks of health found in many vegetables, pass by useless unless consumed with fat. Avocados' rich flesh can ramp up absorption levels to 15 times what they'd otherwise be, a trick that shames the most expensive supplements. If you're willing to unlock these powerful, unseen benefits, it takes only half an avocado each day. Slice it onto sourdough, swirl it into a shake. However you dare to eat it, the choice is yours. But ignore it, and you risk surrendering your health, unaware of the silent decay creeping in where you least expect it. However you choose to bring it into your daily ritual, this so-called miracle fruit stretches the thread of life itself in unsettling ways, almost as if it hides the ancient secret of longevity in plain daylight, waiting to be discovered by those who dare. Let's move to number 3, apples. On the surface, they appear innocuous, but within their crisp flesh lurks an unassuming powerpectin, a rare fiber that silently feeds the bacteria brooding in your gut. As these microscopic residents grow stronger, your own defenses sharpen, digestion becomes unnervingly smooth, and your body pulls more vitality from every bite. These defenses only grow more vital with time, a quiet bulwark against the creeping frailty of age. Yet the apple's influence digs deeper. Pectin acts almost parasitically, binding to poisonous cholesterol and dragging it out of your body. slowly, persistently lowering the sinister LDL that quietly sabotages hearts. Flavonoids like quercetin, ever vigilant, patrol your system, quelling the chronic fires of inflammation and shoring up your failing heart. Despite their deceptive sweetness, apples possess a peculiar resistance. They refuse to inflict those dangerous sugar surges that prey on the old and vulnerable, their fibrous web stretching out the absorption of sugar, blunting its potentially lethal assault tenet for those living with insulin resistance or type 2 diabetes. This unseen protection may be the razor edge between wellness and decline, but the apple exacts another toll. Nobody talks about its strange ability to coax out saliva, nature's own first defense, washing bacteria from your teeth and gums. Ignore it, and you risk summoning the rot and decay that stalks old age. For all their innocent crunch, apples are accomplices in a game far darker than most realize, manipulating appetite, weight, and even the first line of bodily defense, until you might wonder if they truly keep death at bay or merely delay its arrival. In ways both marvelous and faintly unsettling, is it really possible that eating just one apple a day could help you avoid doctor visits? And what other benefits might be hidden inside this everyday fruit? Now, consider the pomegranate. Picture a fruit with enough potency to revamp your entire cardiovascular system. Pomegranate isn't always the first choice for a daily snack, but for older adults, this deep red fruit works wonders for the aging heart. As we get older, our arteries often become less flexible and more rigid, limiting blood flow, raising blood pressure, and putting more stress on the heart. Pomegranates stand out because they contain punicalagins, a rare group of antioxidants that have been shown, in key studies published in Atherosclerosis, to cut arterial oxidative stress by over 30%. Clinical trials even suggest these antioxidants are 3 times more powerful than those in red wine or green tea. High oxidative stress inflames and constricts your arteries, much like rust gradually clogging an old pipe. But punicalagins actively remove these harmful compounds, keeping blood flowing freely and effortlessly. Pomegranate juice has been shown in clinical studies to reduce systolic blood pressure by an impressive 5 to 21% in individuals with hypertension, a significant development for older adults trying to keep their blood pressure in check without relying on more medication. But its benefits don't stop with cardiovascular health. Pomegranate can also enhance memory and brain function. A notable UCLA study observed that seniors who drank pomegranate juice daily experienced marked improvements in verbal memory tests compared to a control group. This finding is especially meaningful given how widely memory decline is feared as people age. For those who have trouble with chewing, pomegranate juice delivers many of the same advantages as the whole fruit, making it more accessible. Antioxidant supplements derived from pomegranate have also produced promising outcomes, though eating the fruit itself offers added fiber and nutrients. Here's a tip that often goes unmentioned: you don't need large amounts every day. Just a half cup of seeds or a small pour of pure juice incorporated into your routine can provide meaningful results. Unlike many fruits high in sugar, pomegranate features a low glycemic index, helping to avoid the blood sugar spikes associated with accelerated aging, a key point for older adults managing pre-diabetes or diabetes. Just be sure to choose 100% pure pomegranate juice without added sugars. And if you're taking blood thinners, it's wise to check with your doctor before making pomegranate a regular part of your diet, as it can interact with certain medications. Still, we're left to wonder, what is it about this humble, ancient fruit that holds such rare power for aging bodies? And more hauntingly, why don't more seniors reach for it each day? At the very top of the list are berries, blueberries, raspberries, and blackberries. These little fruits, especially blueberries, sit above all others when it comes to extending both health and years for seniors. There's something bittersweet in that these remarkable berries, so widely available yet so often passed by, are some of the only foods known to genuinely slow the relentless pace of cognitive aging. What sets them apart is their mysterious influence on the mind, an ability to gently revitalize memory and thought, for a while at least. Their secret is anthocyanins, those rare pigments giving blueberries their deep, stormy hues, acting quietly as guardians for the aging brain. When included in the diet, they can ease inflammation and help brain cells talk to each other with the clarity of youth. Some studies, like one in the Annals of Neurology, hint at almost miraculous results. Seniors who ate just 2 servings of blueberries a week delayed mental decline by over 2 years, as if pressing pause on time itself. The effect only works because these compounds can slip through the blood-brain barrier, fighting off the slow, unseen damage before it can become permanent. Berries' gifts stretch further than just defending the mind. But somehow the most poignant benefit is the one so easily overlooked: a fleeting chance to reclaim a little of what aging quietly steals away. The benefits of berries go well beyond just helping the brain. They actually make a real difference in balance and coordination, abilities that sadly fade with age, leaving many older people at serious risk of life-altering falls. These aren't rare accidents. For seniors, a fall is often the beginning of a decline that's hard to reverse. When it comes to the heart, regular berry consumption has delivered impressive results in studies, with clear drops in blood pressure and increased flexibility in blood vessels. There's a bittersweet irony to this, as heart disease still quietly shadows the lives of so many older adults. Cutting too many stories short, berries don't just help the heart. They also help keep blood sugar from swinging too high after meals. Many older folks wrestle with prediabetes or diabetes, and the fiber and bioactive compounds in berries provide some relief from the constant worry about danger spikes. With roughly 8 grams of fiber in a single cup, berries gently support digestion. 2. No harsh effects. Just a bit of help for bodies that aren't as resilient as they used to be. A small serving each day, on oatmeal, in yogurt, or blended into a smoothie, might quietly lift mood and energy in a way that's hard to notice until it's missed. Yet, there's a pitfall hidden in what seems like a simple choice: dried berries almost always come packed with sugar, stealing away the gentle benefits they otherwise provide. In the end, while some fruits offer hope and support, others carry risks that are easy to overlook. The details can make all the difference. Let's start with something that might be sitting in your kitchen at this very moment. Number 4, grapes. On the surface, grapes seem perfectly harmless, maybe even good for you. They're tiny, sweet, and refreshing, often talked up for their antioxidants, especially the deep-hued varieties like red or black grapes. Yet, there's a troubling reality that often goes unnoticed, especially for seniors. Grapes, despite their innocent appearance, come packed with sugar and almost no fiber to offer any balance. The sugar, mainly fructose, is so concentrated, and the fruit so easy to eat by the handful, that it's unsettling just how quickly you can take in a huge amount without even realizing it. The numbers are striking. A single cup of grapes has about 23 grams of sugar, which is almost as much as a candy bar. For older adults, especially those already battling unstable blood sugar levels, this can spell disaster. With barely any fiber to slow things down, all that sugar hits the bloodstream at once, triggering dramatic spikes in glucose and insulin. These aren't just fleeting changes. They're tied to faster weight gain, inflammation throughout the body, and sharply increased risk of developing type 2 diabetes. It doesn't quite end there. Grapes that aren't organic are typically coated in pesticide residues, and people with fragile immune systems or delicate digestion, often the case with the elderly, could be left more exposed to these invisible toxins. Even the soft, seemingly harmless grape skin provides disappointing nutritional value, especially when you compare it to tougher, more protective skins like those of apples or pears. All of this makes grapes a surprisingly risky snack in later years, carrying so much more sadness than their cheerful appearance suggests. Beneath their harmless facade, grapes conceal a sinister chaos, waiting to sabotage anyone who's vulnerable, especially older adults fighting to preserve their energy and metabolic health. Yet grapes are only the beginning. There's a fruit far more insidious waiting on store shelves: dried fruits. These seemingly innocent snacks, particularly those laced with sulfites, hide a lethal risk for seniors. Dried fruits exude a wholesome, convenient allure, but it's a cruel deception. Strip away the water, and you're left with pure hyper-concentrated sugar, packaged in a handful that can rival an entire orchard. Take dried apricots. Just a few pieces deliver a sugar rush, parallel to devouring multiple fresh apricots, bypassing the natural fullness that fiber and water deliver. For anyone battling diabetes or insulin resistance, this sugary ambush is especially malicious, capable of setting off dangerous blood glucose spikes in moments. Slowly, this onslaught shoves blood sugar out of control, spiraling a minor problem into full-scale metabolic havoc, or taking existing diabetes to a place that's truly unmanageable. And the threat doesn't end with blood sugar. The damage that lurks within dried fruit stretches much deeper, waiting to manifest in ways you might never predict. These sugar surges elevate inflammation throughout the body, which can significantly intensify arthritis pain, speed up mental decline, and even weaken the immune system, a risk seniors simply can't ignore. Even more concerning, many commercial dried fruits are loaded with added sulfites, which are harsh preservatives that keep the product looking fresh and lasting longer. For people with sulfite sensitivity, these chemicals can provoke serious asthma attacks, and older adults are especially at risk because of natural changes in their lungs. And the higher rates of asthma and COPD in this age group, while roughly 1 in 100 people are sensitive to sulfites, the rate is much higher among seniors with breathing issues. The combination of concentrated sugars and preservatives in dried fruits poses a substantial risk for those coping with inflammatory issues like arthritis, which already affects almost half the population over 65. But another surprising threat is often found in the fruit bowl: unripe bananas. Although spotted, ripe bananas can be a good choice for many seniors. Unripe or green bananas carry distinct health risks, making them a poor option for older adults. The main problem comes from their high levels of resistant starch, a type of carbohydrate that doesn't break down easily in the small intestine, unlike the sugars found in ripe bananas. Older adults who are already coping with the effects of aging on their digestive systems, like reduced enzyme production and slower gut activity, may find that consuming resistant starches brings on a troubling wave of gastrointestinal symptoms: painful bloating, gas, and persistent abdominal discomfort. For seniors suffering from irritable bowel syndrome or inflammatory gut diseases, conditions that often grow more common with age, these effects are magnified, turning what might be a minor issue for others into a daily hardship. The challenge of breaking down unripe bananas is not just a matter of discomfort, but can actually interfere with the body's ability to absorb essential nutrients from the rest of the meal. This becomes particularly bitter for older people already fighting an uphill battle against nutrient deficiencies, whether from medication side effects, suppressed appetite, or the body's diminishing ability to take in what it needs. What makes it worse is the presence of astringent compounds in unripe bananas, the same ones that give an unpleasant dry, chalky sensation in the mouth, that can actively irritate the lining of the gut, sometimes sparking widespread inflammation that only adds to their misery. Nutritionally, unripe bananas offer scant relief. Their levels of antioxidants are far lower than those of fully ripened fruit, as these protective compounds accumulate later in the ripening process. For seniors hoping to ease inflammation and regain a sense of wellness through their food, this lack of antioxidants makes unripe bananas a disheartening and surprisingly risky choice. No warning feels quite as sobering as the hidden threat lurking behind a fruit as seemingly harmless as grapefruit. Sitting quietly at the very top of our list of dangerous foods, grapefruit often goes unnoticed by those hoping to make healthy choices, especially among seniors. While it's praised by many for its benefits and role in weight management, grapefruit can pose silent, even deadly, risks for people on several common medications. It's the furanocoumarins inside that amplify the risk, blocking the crucial CYP3A4 enzyme in the intestine. This enzyme is needed to properly process nearly 85 different essential medications. When grapefruit disrupts this process, medication levels in the blood can rise to unsafe, toxic heights, turning a standard dose into something life-threatening. The consequences aren't abstract. They include potentially fatal side effects, depending on what medication is involved. The list of at-risk drugs is surprisingly long, touching some of the most common prescriptions for seniors. Widely used statins, such as atorvastatin and simvastatin, vital blood pressure medicines like nifedipine, medications for anxiety and irregular heartbeats, and even basic antihistamines and immunosuppressants. The risk is so startling because the effect can be dramatic, even with small amounts of grapefruit. Imagine taking Lipitor and having its concentration in your blood spike over 400%, raising risks like muscle breakdown or even kidney failure. For many, it's hard to accept that a fruit often associated with health can have such dire consequences, especially for those just trying to look after themselves. Even just a sliver of grapefruit or a sip of juice can be enough to set off interactions that put lives at risk. The sinister effects can haunt your system for up to 72 hours after you've eaten it. Spacing your medicine apart from grapefruit, that won't protect you. The risk lingers, lurking, because the number of medications affected is vast and touches some of the most crucial drugs that seniors rely on. Grapefruit sits at the very top of the list of fruits to be feared or shunned. If you're taking prescription meds, you have to face the question directly with your doctor or pharmacist: is any amount of this fruit safe for you, or is it a hidden menace? Don't trust appearances or guess it's harmless. The chance of amplifying your medicine's impact or unleashing its side effects to dangerous degrees is disturbingly real. Grapefruit's innocent appearance hides a deadly potential. One misstep, and you could unknowingly tip the balance between health and catastrophe. That's the blunt, unsettling reality about which fruits belong in your daily life and which should be cast out at once. Some, like avocado, apples, pomegranates, and berries, brighten your health and sharpen your mind as you age. But others, lurking under a sweet exterior, grapefruit, dried fruits, unripe bananas, even grapes, can drain your vitality, spike your blood sugar, and feed a quiet storm of inflammation inside you. The true terror is how silently these dangers operate, leaving you unaware until it's too late. Many people don't realize that something as simple as a handful of grapes or half a grapefruit could be setting off harmful processes inside the body long before any serious symptoms appear. That's why it's smart to make informed choices, eat with awareness, and, when you can, combine your fruit with a source of protein or healthy fat. We want to know, have you been eating these potentially risky fruits without knowing what they might be doing to you? Which fact from this video took you by surprise? Have you ever noticed strange effects after eating certain fruits? And are you now connecting the dots? Share your stories and any questions below. Our goal is to uncover the real impact of everyday foods on